Hello and welcome. This is a reading for the lunar eclipse in Libra that we have now entered into. And this is going to be a reading to talk about the current energies that we are in, and to also pull intuitive messages. And so, what is the current energy that we are in? We have this eclipse at the start of the energetic new year. So we had the spring equinox on the 19th of March, which signaled the beginning of Aries season. And the fact that we have this eclipse so close to the beginning of the energetic new year really begs the question, are we ready to look at the shadow? Are we looking at the shadow? And this may be a year for many of us where we find ourselves transforming in ways that we don't even see coming. And so understanding how powerful these energies are and how significant it is to have this period of darkness at the start of the energetic new year is something to explore, to dive into, and to see what we can find in that darkness. So the energies have been intense for many of us. We have been going through what feels like dark nights of the soul. And for those of us that are really choosing to find our way through the darkness and really choosing to process our triggers and really choosing to evolve from certain habits that, maybe keep us stuck, or just certain ways of operating that we know that story, we know where that goes. And so this energy is incredibly powerful. It is intense, but it is incredibly powerful if you understand how to harness it within yourself. So I'm going to read some intuitive messages that came through in regards to this eclipse. So the first message that came through was, there are some of us that can only truly awaken in the darkness, for it is in this darkness that we birth our own light. And what does this mean? So when we allow ourselves to go into our own darkness, when we find ourselves in these moments where there is no hope, that, we just feel like there's no way out. And that is probably the most powerful time for you, regardless of how difficult it feels. Those moments of complete darkness, those moments are the ones where you become the most powerful. Because when you move through that darkness and you pick yourself up, you give birth to your own power. You give birth to your own light, because no one saved you. It was you that had to pull yourself through that. And so with this eclipse, it's an invitation to go into the darkness, to give birth to your own light. It is going to be something entirely new. It is going to be something that is yours, and no one will be able to take that from you. No one will be able to disempower you from that, because it was born from within. It's only through the external that our power can be taken away. So swimming in your own darkness, swimming in your own shadow to give birth to your own light is going to bring you into a new reality. It's going to bring you into a new path that you have never ventured into before, and neither have those that came before you. So these eclipse gateways are incredibly powerful for those of us that are deciding that we are no longer going to just operate on these ways of thinking and reacting that just lead to the same thing. All the parts of yourself that you deem unworthy, all the parts of yourself that make you uncomfortable, all the parts of yourself that make you question your true nature, whether you are a good person. Once you master and release the negative energy around these aspects of yourself, new energy is formed. It is the law of transmutation that nothing truly dies. It is just constantly reborn. And so through the darkness, birthing your own light means that once you embrace and release the parts of you that are not in harmony, that you are yet to accept, the wounds that you are yet to heal, once you release the negative energy around the suffering, the pain, the trauma, the triggers, new energy will be created. And yes, the law of transmutation being that, yes, nothing truly dies. And so that is where your new light will be created from. It will be from releasing the pain around what keeps triggering you, especially the deep wounds. It's time to look at the deep wounds, because the deep wounds, we can think of them as doorways. And when we don't address the deep wounds, we create additional doorways that basically mimic the central wound, and that's why we keep being triggered. So until we look at the central wounds, the core wounds, we will continue to create almost not different versions, but it will be the same energy, just different kind of echoes of those central wounds. And life will just recreate situations until we decide to actually look at the central wounds. So going back to the darkness, when we think of something being born, it can only truly develop in the darkness. For example, when we are in the womb, it's complete darkness. When seeds are in soil, they are in complete darkness. So again, some of us can only come to the true realization of ourselves through our own darkness, through the parts of ourselves that we avoid. So this eclipse, this time that we're in energetically, many of us may have already just been pushed into areas of discomfort, whether it's through loss, whether it's through the triggers, whatever it is. Some of us may have found ourselves just pushed in that direction without necessarily feeling like we're completely ready. But of course, it's all for a reason. And so carrying things that we don't even know we've been carrying, that were birthed from so much pain. So when we go through a traumatic event, parts of ourselves are fragmented, and sometimes we don't even realize that that part of us is still fragmented until we follow the trigger and follow the pain and retrieve that part of ourselves back. And if you know me, you know that I'm a big fan of EFT tapping. I have been doing EFT tapping for years now. It is an incredible way to not only process your feelings in real time, but process past triggers, past wounds, trauma, whatever you can think of. And so if you are ready to start doing shadow work, I have created a series separately from this channel. I will link it in the description box, and it's an introduction into tapping. And tapping is just one of many modalities you can do for shadow work, but I find that tapping, because it is so safe, because it is so thorough, because it is a somatic practice, it is an incredibly effective way to start doing shadow work, to start understanding the parts of yourself that you don't even realize are there, because they are under the layers of pain that, like I said, you may have been carrying for years. And so while eclipses are not the time to, let's say, launch, things and, bring in manifestations, because you're kind of working with opposite energy, if you use this time to do this shadow work and to start actually connecting with the parts of you that you haven't looked at, it's basically, this eclipse time is going to be very fertile soil for you to do this work. So let's get into the reading. I will be pulling from the tarot to start with. And let's see what messages want to come through for us. Okay, so the first card is Seven of Cups in reverse. So not knowing which path to choose, just kind of having apathy and being very disconnected from your emotions. And actually it makes sense, because in the darkness, we're not always, it can be a time just to stand still, to not just keep going. So if you find that you're not able to make a decision right now, it's because you're not supposed to make a decision. You are supposed to use this time for introspection. Then we have the Eight of Cups. So definitely about emotions. We are walking into the unknown. He is leaving all of these cups behind, and he's walking, you can see he's actually walking into the darkness, but it's not the darkness in that sense, it's the unknown. And that's exactly what this eclipse is. That's what shadow work is. We are going into the unknown through our emotions, and we are being called to leave behind the way we have been doing things, because the way we have been doing things has not been, it's been working to some extent, but it's not true liberation. It's not true freedom. It's you just in a cage from your own trauma, from your own unresolved wounds. Are you just forgetting your dreams? Are you allowing the difficulties of life to define you? Are you forgetting that you are the operant force in your life, and that the external, it simply represents the past? Are you crying over spilt milk and not seeing the two cups that are still there? Coming into order, coming into self-mastery, coming into the structures that you are building for yourself, new foundations. What are the new foundations you are standing on? A lot of the times, our shadow also contains ancestral trauma, and understanding that our ancestors, they did what they could with what they had. They did what they could with the knowledge and resources they had. But you are here to carve a new path. You are here to do things differently. But there also has to be structure in place. And we also had the Judgment in reverse come up, which I will clarify. So are you feeling disconnected? Again, the energy of indecision and spiritual cowardice. So what are you not facing within yourself? Again, what are you just allowing this energy of indecisiveness. So not necessarily making a decision in the external world, but choosing within yourself to look closely and openly at what you need to release, what you need to accept, what you need to forgive, so that you can move on into your new path, into the new reality that you truly want to call in, even if you might be scared because it is the unknown and you're leaving behind all the familiar emotions. But you have to leave it behind so that you can actually go into new territory where your soul desperately wants to grow. And the message of really using what you have, the resources that you have, and yes, we try to manifest into the spirit, into the physical realm, but we also have to be able to look at what is in the physical realm with a new perspective, and see how to also utilize what we have already. How can we alchemize what we already have in this physical reality to get what we actually want to obtain in the physical world? And to not look at our current circumstances as if we are in a prison, because it truly is in the mind that you allow yourself to believe that you are in a prison. So we have seasons. Paying attention to this season that we find ourselves in, and just as always, just accepting wherever you are, accepting if you are perhaps more in a death cycle, or whether you are completely rebirthing and you are just excited to, you know, share whatever you want to share. Just accepting where you are and knowing that this too shall pass. Like, nothing bad lasts forever, nothing good lasts forever. It all just continues. And so if you feel as though you are in this place that you just can't see the light, just understand that it will not be forever. It will have its time. It will have its cycle. And with each cycle, we grow stronger in that sense. With each cycle that we allow ourselves to move through instead of fighting it, we grow closer to understanding ourselves and to coming into our own wisdom and our own power. We have time, so connecting with the illusory nature of time and the fact that, you know, we have the new year that starts on January 1st, but if we actually look at that time, what even the meaning of the month January is, it has nothing to do with new beginnings. And so defining time for yourself is how you can move in harmony with not only the outside world but also internally. Because if you completely subscribe to this crafted understanding of time that has been created for you, instead of you defining time on your own, then you're just, you know, in a way it's like you're just at the mercy of this illusion. Because the way we interact with time in the physical realm, it's an illusion. And I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that time moves in a way that, you know, it really comes down more to the energy. The energy of things will dictate what something means for you versus how much time it takes to get there. So understanding what is your own relationship with time, and are you putting pressure on yourself to adhere to these timelines that are constructed for us, or are you allowing yourself more and more to go into your own timing and what just feels more in harmony with you, with your body? That is going to help you navigate this whole experience better. And then we have power. So coming back into our power and knowing that we have every right to stand in our power. We have every right to take back our power, but doing it from a place of love. This is not about aggression. This is not about force. This is why when we work with the shadow, we come into our own power. We give that to ourselves. No one gives it to us. And so it's not something that we have to just, you know, it's something we just come into. It's a very natural state of being. And understanding what is an illusion and what is real, and only you can define that for yourself. Because there's so many things that we outsource our power to. Like I'm always saying, are you outsourcing your power to someone else? Are you outsourcing your power to external objects? Are you outsourcing your power to the desperation of wanting to manifest something? Allow yourself to know that you are powerful. You are powerful as you are. And allow yourself to just stand in that power. Allow yourself to feel it. That you are here after everything you have gone through. You are still here. And you are simply on your journey of knowing yourself, understanding who you are. I'm going to pull from one additional deck, and just seeing this card, which is Karmic Path, Saturnian energy, which very much is the Emperor energy. It's all about the long term. Because again, we can want things so quickly. We can want things now, you know. We're so desperate. We're so desperate to get to our destination. But it's like, okay, when you get there, then what, you know? Then is it the next thing? Is it the next thing? Is it the next thing? So these new foundations that you are building and doing the difficult work to build these solid foundations, that is also how you define time for yourself. You understand that there is power in long cycles. You understand that it's all about honing who you are and what you came here to experience and how you came here to evolve. And remembering to forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves for the ways in which we've hurt ourselves, the things we have allowed ourselves to believe that are simply not true. Forgiving ourselves for all the times that we felt unworthy. In a way, this eclipse is giving us a chance to let go of any remnants from the past this year that we just closed out. Because even though we are in the new year energetically, again, time is not linear, and you may still be releasing things from this past year. So this eclipse portal, this eclipse gateway, is almost like a chance to really, you know, for you to really go deep, to excavate everything so that you can actually go into this new year in the most powerful way that you can. It's almost saying, let's really take a look before we actually go into this new year. Because I think a lot of us, we can, you know, we can understand there are these energetic windows, but, you know, we have to also embody that for ourselves. And so it's almost like this eclipse is here to give you this window of time to say, clear everything out so that you can actually be in this new energetic year in your optimal way. So the final messages we have are release. This is a great time to release what is no longer serving you. I know we hear that statement so much, but it's true. Release the parts of you that are keeping you hostage. Trauma, unresolved triggers, they keep us hostage because we are just operating with whatever it's called. We are operating on tunnel vision. When we have unresolved trauma, we are made to believe that, like I was saying, we are not worthy of things. We are bad. Surely we are bad because, you know, this thing happened to us and it makes us a bad person. So there's so much subconsciously that these unresolved triggers create, and we are just going through life without realizing we are not seeing the full picture. And so release. I know there's a lot of cord cutting rituals, but what I actually encourage you to do is remove the cords entirely and replace them with light. So visualize yourself pulling the cords of anything energetically, whether it's people, places, events that happened. Pull those cords from you, or visualize your higher self pulling them out and then filling that space with light so that your auric field is fully sealed and you are just back in a state of wholeness. We have trust, which is very connected to the Eight of Cups. If you see, it's the darkness. We are being asked to trust in the unknown. We are being asked to trust in the darkness to find our way through the darkness. We're not going to live there, but we are going to take the underworld journey through our psyche to obtain the wisdom that we need to obtain, so that we can just understand ourselves more. And so trusting, really trusting, even though it feels uncomfortable, it doesn't necessarily mean it's something bad. We can get that confused a lot of times when we are developing new habits, when we are really trying to be better. Doing something different can oftentimes feel very uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that it's something you shouldn't be doing. So trusting the darkness, trusting the unknown, even if it feels uncomfortable. And again, we have time. So everything in divine timing. As humans, we find it really difficult to accept, to understand that everything is already happened, and it helps to kind of have an overview and to know that every single action we take is contributing to our timeline. So every time you decide to do something positive for yourself, you are contributing to a higher timeline. When you are choosing to give in to something that you know is not true, you are also contributing to that timeline. So try to have more of an overview and understand it's all already happened. And in order for you to get here, you have to experience certain things. Otherwise, you actually cannot get there. So know that everything happens in divine timing, and it is more about your energy and what you are embodying than what you are physically doing on the earth plane. Because you can do something, but it can just be an empty action. It's the energy you have behind it. It's in the same way as being in physical circumstances that aren't what you desire, but if you know how to alchemize your environment for your benefit, you are energetically operating on the higher timeline. Next, we have focus, remembering that our desires are absolutely worth pouring into. They are worth us obtaining, they are worth us experiencing, and just like the arrow gets pulled back before it lunges forward, that's you sometimes. Sometimes you are being pulled back before you shoot forward, because again, time is this construct that we created in a way that it doesn't actually reflect the way time moves and operates. And so you may feel like you're at rock bottom. You may feel like, when are things going to change? When are things going to change? Or why is this so difficult? When really you are just being pulled back to be shot way ahead of what you deem to be possible, or how you understand things to develop when you're thinking of time in the physical sense. So refocusing your energy after this eclipse season. Take this time to excavate, to go within, to clear out what you need to clear out, so that you can come back into focus for the year ahead. And the last card we have is magic. So coming into your magic, knowing that you are the magic, it lives within you, and you do not need anything external to create magic. You have all the elements within you, your blood being the water, your spirit being the fire, your body being the earth, your breath being the air. There's so much within you that can create magic already. And remembering that in any moment you can tap into magic. Just as you can alchemize your physical circumstances to your benefit. When you are interacting with the outside world, how are you interacting with it? Anything can become a magical act. It's all about the energy that you put into it. So reclaim your magic. Remember that you are inherently worthy of having everything you desire, and the only prison you are experiencing is the prison of your mind, the prison of your perception. So this concludes the divination portion of this reading, and we will be moving into the somatic portion. So we are moving into the somatic portion, where we will integrate these messages, because at the end of the day, if we do not integrate the wisdom that is coming through energetically for us, then we're only kind of operating with the energy in half of the sense. So let's take this time to integrate these messages, to really embody these messages, to allow our body's wisdom to come through, so that we can really understand what these energies are trying to show us. Starting with the side of the hand and repeating after me. I allow myself to trust in the unknown. I allow myself to find my power in the unknown. I allow myself to birth my own light through the darkness. I reconnect with my dreams. I reconnect with my desires. I reconnect with my capacity to be grateful for what I have in this earthly realm. I trust in my capacity to build new foundations. I trust in my capacity to be the master of my own destiny. I understand that my karmic path is the one that brings the greatest evolution. I allow myself to release that which no longer serves me. I allow myself to accept where I am in this moment. I forgive myself for any illusions that I was made to believe as truth. I allow myself to trust in the unknown. I allow myself to reclaim my power through the unknown. I choose to come back to my divine timeline. I allow myself to integrate what my shadow wishes to show me. I allow myself to come back into a state of focus. I reclaim my magic. I reclaim my capacity to alchemize all that I desire to change. As I return back to myself, and the truth of who I am. So just allowing the energies to integrate. And so this was the somatic portion. I hope it was useful, and I wish you all a wonderful lunar eclipse in Libra, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.